After discussing student A's challenges with my mentor teacher, we determined that it would be helpful to work with student A in a one-to-one format. Student A transferred from another district, and my mentor teacher suggested that she may be more apt to vocalize her thought process in a more intimate and informal setting. Our plan of action: first, we will engage in student A with one-to-one conversation about everyday examples of approximation and rounding, and then ask her to share another example of rounding. Secondly, review two-part answers involving number lines. We must first make sure the number line has increments, in this case, ones with 10 total tallies. And secondly, deciding if the number is closer to the higher or lower indicated number. Lastly, we will introduce student A to the Hill style number line that we will be using for the next activity. This will give her visual cues to help reinforce rounding up or down. Student A is a very visual learner, hence we've decided that the Hill style number line may be a wonderful manipulative for her to use. Before we begin the next activity, we spent some time familiarizing her with the basic 1 to 10 hill. We explained that rounding is very similar to this hill. However, if we stop at any point, we will slide forward or back to a number with a 0. The rule for a hill is once a person reaches the halfway point, or the top of the hill, they automatically slide forward. We asked her to explain which number is the halfway point of our hill. She correctly identified the number 5. We practiced giving her numbers and asking her to use her finger to slide forward or back on the hill when rounding, and explained how she knew how to slide in each determined direction. To practice these skills and reinforce student A's understanding, student A completed a practice worksheet that utilized rounding with different verbiage. The worksheet used the term almost to reinforce the equivalence of rounding and estimation. Student A was then encouraged to differentiate the place values that determined rounding up or down by highlighting them. This proved to be a helpful technique when she moved from addressing 2 to 3-digit numbers. Van de Waal's text reminds us of two very important things to keep in mind when teaching rounding to third grade students. Number 1, he describes the importance of the number 5 being taught as a convention and ensuring that students comprehend the agreement of rounding up when they are midway between numbers. And secondly, third graders will be expected to use that knowledge to assess the reasonableness of answers using mental computation and estimation strategies, including rounding. In the future, it will be important to ensure that student A first identify the place value that she will need to round to, and secondly, note that she will always be using the number directly to the right of that digit to determine the new estimated or rounded value. And thirdly, if applicable, label the number lines.